we searched heaven and earth for a keynoter. Every new generation of technology, there are people who ride the new waves. But we are looking for someone who just not does ride the waves, but create the waves. We are embarking on this new agentic enterprise, where AI will be your user interface. That's how we work. Where data will be the raw material, and where workflow will be like the tissues, the connective tissues that turn intelligence and information into actions. So we found one, and my pleasure and honor to introduce Amit Zavery, President of ServiceNow. Please welcome him to the podium. Thank you. Amit is the is the President, Chief Operating Officer, and he's also the Chief Product Officer at ServiceNow. He has spent his career redefining what work means in the modern enterprise, not once, but many times. From driving cloud adoption and platform innovation at Oracle, and to shaping Google Cloud into a force of transformation, and now leading as president of ServiceNow, Amit has been at the forefront of every major shift in how people and businesses get work done. So we'll be talking about, he will probably, Amit, you will be maybe go over your...
We can use a few slides, but I think I'd rather we just talk.
Okay.
So why don't you have a seat and we chat.
So on your behalf, I'll be asking a few questions, or these days you call it prompts, to Amit. So thank you, and please welcome Amit Zavery.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashis. Come on. How are you? You can come. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
How is everyone? Good morning. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, the best thing for us to do is I give you a few ideas of what I'm seeing in the market, maybe spend a few minutes on that, but happy to answer any questions you have, and then we can open it up to thoughts you all have and areas you want to discuss. We can keep it pretty open. Not everything is available to be discussed. So, you have a slide deck? So if you look at, you talked about today, Ashis, about the great pivot. And we are seeing a huge amount of change happening in every enterprise I speak to nowadays. Since I've joined ServiceNow, which has been close to 11 months, I spoke to around 300 customers and other partners. And all of them are going and grappling, figuring out what to do with AI, how does it change their lives, how do they change their work, and what are the different investments they need to make. And if you look at the numbers out there, everybody is thinking about AI making a huge impact in their business, but they don't know how to get going and where to start. And we'll talk through some of those trends we are seeing and the worry everybody has in terms of what that means for the business, what it means for their own personal life, what it means for competition, and what it means for jobs and everything else around that as well. So that's definitely one big trend across the board. Second is this idea of how do you get ROI on it. Right? The investment going on in AI is pretty large. There's a huge amount of projects going on, but there's a lot of concerns about whether I'm getting the ROI, am I getting the value creation out of it, as well as whether the companies will be effective after all these investments. So those are the kind of the major trends going broadly, and we can talk through what that means for you individually, as well as some of the companies you might be in, as well as how we at ServiceNow are kind of addressing some of those problems as well. But the bigger thing around that is if you look at AI innovation, it is impacting every part of the tech stack, every part of the way businesses run. The interfaces are changing. The workflow in terms of how you run your business process is really going through a major, major shift. It's no longer very deterministic. You're adding more and more non-deterministic flows, but you want an outcome which is guaranteed as well. So that's a big change happening around workflow. No doubt the whole tech stack with AI is becoming more agentic. So how do you really manage AI agents with orchestration, reasoning, planning? How do you do security, compliance, trust, safety? So the whole stack is changing because the AI has been built into that particular stack, and you're building applications around it. And that requires a huge amount of work around data as well. A lot of federated data out there. How do you connect those things together, and how do you make sure that you have access to the right information in real time, which can impact your AI models, but also impacts how your business processes run. And the infrastructure has gone through major shift, of course. No longer is just CPUs, but GPUs are everywhere. How do you do testing? How do you do planning? But also, how do you do inferencing? The whole tech stack change is going to be a major shift for every engineer out there, everybody who's building new products out there. And we are seeing a huge shift in terms of what kind of training I need to do for my engineers, what product managers need to do, how you design, especially across the interfaces and this whole multimodality, as well as this idea of multilingual and ways you interact with the same user interface. And that requires a mindset shift. This idea from going the way we used to build and do things before versus now being an AI native mindset. Of course, there are a lot of new companies which are coming up with starting with this. But most of the other companies who have been in the business or in the software market for a long time have to really rethink how you really build products, how you test, how you deliver, but also how you market, sell, support. The lines between pre-sales, post-sales are going away. Lines between what an engineer does in terms of writing code and somebody else going and making customers successful are going away. You talk about forward deployed engineering, how the engineers are now in forefront with customers. That means the shift in mindset is starting to happen for everybody in every role across an enterprise. And this is a big skilling requirement we're seeing, as well as a change in terms of how you will have to get your companies in line to understand what the world will be and ensure that people are doing this kind of work and rethinking how they're going to deliver towards what customers expect now versus how they used to be interacting with software vendors and other providers before. So this, I think, is a big area of work we are doing inside ServiceNow, changing the mindset across the organization to ensure across every role and function, we're bringing out this AI native mindset. And this is a heavy lift for us as well. I'll just leave you with like what ServiceNow, and assuming many of you know ServiceNow, but if you don't, you should think about us as an AI platform, which provides you the ability to run any kind of business process for any business functions, be it for IT, HR, customer service, finance, supply chain, procurement, or build your own workflow on the same platform. And the key thing ServiceNow has done is a good job over many years is to really have this idea of one platform, bringing all the different pieces you require, not just data or workflow, but AI into the same place with one data model and one user experience. So it becomes very easy for you to keep on adding more and more functions on top of it. The core thing which has happened over the last few years is a shift towards AI being built into the platform, and the idea of having AI agents, which is okay, but the broader thing is around orchestration, reasoning, planning, and how do you manage AI agent orchestration across multiple companies, and not just provided by ServiceNow, but also third party, as well as your own custom AI agents. And the idea of AI control tower so that you can have complete control, but also security, compliance, and trust and safety built in, so you can manage the proliferation of AI across the company as well. So that's really how we've been thinking about it, and then connecting all the various different data sources using zero-copy adapters and making it easier to do insight to action across a business process, across everything a company might be going through. So it's a pretty powerful way of thinking about it. Of course, there are a lot of companies who are approaching the problem today in terms of how you build AI-based platforms and what you need to do to really deliver this AI-native mindset and products to customers. So we are one of the providers, and we work in an ecosystem where we partner and integrate with various other providers as well, a lot of startups and other ecosystem providers. So look forward to kind of learning more about all the things you guys might be doing and where ServiceNow can partner with you all. But the goal is to really make sure that you can add value to customers and looking at customer first and delivering a platform which can make a difference and let customers grow both their top line and improve their bottom line, right? So with that, we can have a good conversation, hopefully, and answer any questions you might have. But hopefully it gives you some context in terms of things I'm seeing and a lot of other changes which are probably top of your mind, which we can then talk through as well.
Thank you, Amit. So this mic is working, right? All right. So Amit, you have a long engineering career at, of course, some of the fabled companies, Oracle and Google. And now you are driving this innovation at ServiceNow, bringing ServiceNow into this age of AI. What lessons can we share with us about modernizing an enterprise in this age of agents?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So we have gone through many, many pivots, right? If you look at technology shift, and I don't know how many of you have worked at Oracle.
Many.
Yeah, that's, I would assume there are a lot of people. So, I mean, when I started Oracle, which was in '94, it was still kind of becoming more of this client-server technology stack, right? And we were evolving to becoming more internet-driven. And that was a huge shift for many engineers, product managers, as well as how you go and build those products. And that took probably, I would say, 6 to 8 years before we could say you have an internet-ready, internet-facing products. Similar thing happened when we moved from internet to the cloud era, where we had on-premise products, which we needed to now make sure that could be a fully cloud-based software. And that took another 6 to 8 years as well. And that was reskilling, making sure engineers understand the value of it. There's a lot of inertia because people said that will never happen. Nobody will run their software somewhere else other than their own data center. So the mindset shift required took more time than the technology shift. Right? It was a lot of work to be done to get cultural shifts going. Similar things are happening now if you look at what's going on now with AI. Even though everybody believes AI, the reality is there's still a lot of concerns whether it can really make a difference in terms of enterprise efficiency. And will it be without hallucination or without errors? Because you can't expect errors in a lot of the enterprise software out there because you're making real business decisions. But the problem with AI right now is the time shift required is very low, very short. Right? The things are moving much faster than what we saw with the cloud, what we saw with internet, what we may be seeing with mobile and other trends which happen in the technology shifts. So the big thing is, one, the way I've seen it work, and I've seen that at Oracle, we did this at Google, and now, of course, at ServiceNow, is to really make sure that we are very clear top-down about what our primary objectives are. What are you going to focus on? And ensure that everybody understands that there is no out of it. It's not like we are like putting your toe in there and see whether it works or not. You have to really go all in. The same thing happened at cloud with Oracle. We had to really ensure that everybody is focused on it and there's no way out in terms of not moving to a cloud-based software. And same thing is happening at AI. So really making the top-down discussion, having people who are going to be trained and who will drive the change inside the company, doing assessments and making sure that people are learning the new technologies, and making the commitment in some releases and product features, which are going to be driven by this technology shift, and ensuring those things are delivered on time and to customers, and getting that feedback loop going faster. So the cultural shift is a big one. I think the technology shifts are easily doable, I think. I think engineers are smart and they know what to do. It's that a lot of times they don't believe it, or you don't get the right kind of top-down directive in many cases, saying that this is important for the job, for the company, and for the survival. If you don't get there, you will become legacy. And if you look at the amount of legacy companies out there on software, it's tons of them. Sad thing is that in enterprise software companies don't die. So you might think they're around, but they don't grow. If you look at so many companies out there, you're probably growing at 2-3%, and they're around, but that's not going to be the future long-term if you don't get to the new technology stack. And that's the message which we keep on giving to our employees in my company to ensure that everybody realizes it's a growth-driven mindset and major technology trends to be part of it. And learning, if you don't participate early enough, you will miss out, and catching up becomes even much more trickier. Right. Because what we start today is not going to be how it will be tomorrow anyway. So you will keep on changing your mind as you learn more, but you have to participate from day one and be part of that community and the mind and the whole ecosystem. Otherwise, you will be left behind.
Okay, thank you. Amit, do you have a special perch, if I can call it, maybe control tower, where you can see some of the early signals of where AI is bringing the greatest opportunities and where AI is more of a hyped up? So help us to cut through the noise and tell us where you are seeing some of the biggest opportunities and where it is more of a hype.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a huge amount of hype around AI for sure. but it is a technology which is making a difference. So if you look at the first early phases of AI, this idea of Gen AI, or what do you call it, like more of giving you content summarization and giving you information in a better way to consume. Great for employee or individual productivity. It helps you cut a lot of the mundane tasks you used to do by searching around and finding information, summarizing it, or helping you even get started with writing some documents and content. Definitely very valuable. Even if it makes some errors, you can fix it and you can get going with it, and it really helps with searching and finding information. That is there. It'll going to be around for a long, long time. It'll stay around. But I don't think so that unlocks a lot of the value. The unlocking of value is happening especially around this idea of how do you make enterprise more productive, right? So going from employee productivity to enterprise productivity. And the enterprise productivity happens when you can really now run your business much more efficiently using workflows, but making it more dynamic. More changes happening on the fly without having to rewrite the software every time your business changes, your rules changes, your regulations changes. You don't want to keep on doing that heavy lift. Every enterprise has a lot of software pieces, right? I mean, every customer I speak to, especially G2K companies, they probably have 700 or 1,000 software vendors, which they have various versions of the software lying around, and then you're trying to keep up with that. So the big unlock is happening with AI is how do you now build a business process layer to be more agent-driven, AI agent-driven, agentic-driven, where your automation is happening on the fly, east to west, across an enterprise departments, and connecting the various systems together, and abstracting out the complexity associated with some of these vendors you might have bought for many, many years. That's always been the holy grail for many companies. They've always wanting to kind of abstract out that for many years. AI is changing that. So we are seeing a lot of value. We have customers like, say, AstraZeneca, who's doing drug discovery. The process of getting data to getting approval and getting a drug out is very long. But if you start taking parts of those processes and start reducing the time for reviewing documents and then approving the results, or getting the supply chain coordinated and managed, that can make a huge difference, right? Say we have done it with AstraZeneca. It used to take 30 days for them to order a particular part for a drug for manufacturing after all the data they got based on the experiments. And now they cut it down to 30 minutes. Stellantis is another one, which is doing, given the tariff situation nowadays, every company is trying to figure out where to procure parts from. And how do you manage those spare parts, and how do you ensure that you're not going to raise the prices, and who has the right supply? Again, doing the dynamic supply chain has always been a dream for many companies. With AI, we're starting to see that happen real time in a better way for an enterprise level of productivity where they can improve the top line, manage the bottom line, and really run the business efficiently. So a lot of those examples are starting to coming up because of this idea of AI used as part of a solution versus not AI for AI's sake, right? And making sure that you bring it into your product's architecture and think about how that will help you run things more efficiently.
Amit, many of your examples you gave are excellent, but they're very focused towards the so-called knowledge workers. Do you think this agentic AI is also going to help with things like frontline workers, or who are working in manufacturing and healthcare and so on?
Oh, for sure, right? So, I mean, another part you can think about is customer service. And we have a customer called Rossmann, which is a large pharmacy chain in Germany and in Europe. Their big thing is that people who are working in the stores, don't have enough information of, no doubt, inventory, but what particular thing might be doing or information they need when somebody asks questions. And searching that information becomes very difficult, and sometimes they don't really have, the language issues might be one, other things in terms of finding information fast is difficult, and the users and customers get frustrated.
Yes.
So we're starting to see a lot of this technology enabling their application, where one, easy finding information, but also second, helping them be much more specific and curating the content to an individual user's query. Right, so a lot of this work we're doing with Agentic is same idea, it's like understanding intent, and then finding the relevant pieces of information through this technology to give you that summary, and that users who are responding to that back can do it. Another thing we've seen is customer service, right, where every company, like we're working with UPS, for example, they ship things globally. And they have call centers, which are, of course, addressing questions in multiple languages. They can't staff up for people for every language. So with voice AI, for example, now we are starting to deliver the idea of doing multilingual, where somebody can be speaking in one language. You don't have to have a call center to be able to understand all the languages customers might be from, and be real-time still communicating using voice AI as a tool inside a customer service product. Right? So the frontline workers are starting to get much more efficient, and also more, I would say, less worried. With the anxiety level is pretty high in a customer service work. Right? Our attrition rate in a customer service group, maybe a few years ago, used to be probably 30–40%, because it's not a great, easy job. Our attrition rate now is like less than 7%, because we moved to this idea of self-service, a lot of deflection, and then reducing the work individual has to do in terms of answering every question themselves. And they don't have to be replaced, so you don't have to retrain them. And so your employees are there staying longer, the churn rate is lower, but you're also getting much more value out of the people who have a lot of domain. So combining the context of something in somebody's human brain with AI, that combination really works for the frontline workers.
Thank you, Amit. That's excellent. Thanks. I mean, one of the prompts I got was, or a question was that if somebody internally comes to you with a business proposal or some external, or your customer who is developing this, when they come with a business proposal, what are the first one or second question you ask to validate that this is what is going to work from your perspective?
I think, and one, of course, you use a lot of the I think years and years of experience to kind of figure out whether this even makes sense, right? So that, I think, is experience like a lot of you, as you have, would be based on your work you've done before. But the biggest thing is really customer outcome, the value creation, right? So if you're not going to build something or deliver something which does not really solve a pain point for a customer, and it really can be not like a dream, but really you can deliver it because the technology exists or we can build it, that's an important kind of discussion, right? So I always really go down to the idea of customer outcomes and the value creation around that customer expectation and delivery we want to do. So finding a design partner, understanding what they are trying to do, and not just kind of do something which nobody really sees importance out of it, right? You can't monetize otherwise. And it takes a lot of investment typically to build some of these things. Sure, we always keep on pivoting once we learn more, but you don't want to go down a path which is completely a dead end when nobody really needs any of the software we might be building. So customer value is always the first part, and then out of that is always the technology, the know-how, the expertise, and can we really get those things done on a real-time basis.
Gotcha. Amit, let's switch gear to important topic, which is the responsible AI.
Yeah.
So what is your advice for the C-suites of the world? Because you are helping them to become an agentic enterprise. What are the AI responsibility things you remind them?
Yeah, I think the thing is what's happening with AI regulation today, there's really not really one standard. Every C-suite is struggling in terms of what they should do, in terms of how they should use AI, and what the implications are for them in terms of regulations. In Europe, in EU, we're seeing a lot faster movement in terms of regulations. But what we see in US is a little different. What we see in Asia is a little different. So every company struggles when they're building products or adopting products. What should they do with responsible AI? What we have decided on our side is to, one, make sure that we have key principles in our products when we're building it. One, we have to make sure our products are human-centric, so we're doing something good for humans, as well as there's interaction with humans in there. Second is making sure it's transparent. So whatever results you're creating with AI can be seen. So how do you track any changes made by AI system in your products? Is there an audit trail, right? The third thing is around the accountability. So if you're going to produce something, you should be accountable and you are responsible for what we have delivered. So we take accountability for what we're going to deliver with AI, and things are on our responsibility to really deliver that as well. And everything around privacy, data residency, and all that kind of stuff has to be the core principles you provide so that you are not doing something which is harmful or you're using information you're not supposed to, and you're not using that information to hurt someone, or as well as not hurt your customer in some cases, because you might be able to use something you learned from one customer and give it to another one, which might be competitive to that particular customer as well, to that segment as well. So making sure those are core principles. I think this is evolution as we go through. We have a very good dialogue with a lot of the C-suite, doing our interactions with the C-suite in many companies to help them understand what they should be doing with AI, how they should be adopting, and how you do it in a responsible manner. And I think we'll learn more as we go along, but we have to keep that in back of our mind.
Okay. You mentioned about regulations. I noticed that it's constantly changing, especially in our country, where every state is now having their own regulation. Of course, the continent of Europe, in spite of having the AI Act, there is also every country is having. How do you keep track of all these? It's like constantly moving. What's your take?
It's not easy. Yeah, we definitely have to do a lot of work to keep up with the regulation. I was at early last week. Oh, today's Saturday. I lose track of time nowadays. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was at United Nations General Assembly. And a lot of the interactions I had were all this with the regulators. And everybody is still, the regulators themselves are struggling to figure out what should be the right balance between regulation and innovation, right? Because you want to make sure that we can continue innovating and building the right products and making a differentiation in terms of delivery and capability which customers can get out of it, versus putting a regulation which stops that innovation. So the idea is for us is to really partner with the regulators. So we talk to them on a regular basis, as well as making sure that we provide a point of view. But from the product perspective, we ensure also we're taking a lot of the things which are coming from the regulators and ensuring our data privacy, residency, and other things we are putting in the product. And we always go for the highest bar. You have to do it for the highest bar and ensure that all of the things don't have to be rewritten when regulations changes. So we put a much higher bar than what the regulators are doing today. And we make sure that our software is built in a way which will ensure that I don't have to now keep on redoing things every few months when new things come in.
Okay, thanks. And another topic of interest from the audience is how do you ensure that AI actually helps with the socioeconomic divides rather than exacerbate it? So
Yeah, I think that every company has a responsibility. Like we have something we call ServiceNow.org, where we have put in a lot of investment to work with underprivileged individuals to help them with their education requirements. Second, we're also funding a lot of the nature conservatory stuff. We're funding a lot of socioeconomic diverse communities, as well as different charity companies as well, to give them the funding and help the needs so they can adopt AI, but in a responsible and better way. I think second thing is really education. Right, so we have launched something called ServiceNow University. We train close to 1 million people globally for free on AI products and everything they can do with this technology to skill themselves up. So they can get certification, hopefully they can get good jobs out of it, and they can really stay ahead in the marketplace by learning this and not waiting around. Our goal is to get to 3 million trained individuals in the next 2 years. We also have a program called Rise Up, which allows to, again, provide funding to a lot of the underprivileged children for education, but also for anything else they might want to do, from job and helping them find other opportunities at ServiceNow, but also globally. So there are a lot of programs like that we're doing. And the products we're building is also available to a lot of these NGOs and others for free. So, right, so that they are able to use this technology, whichever we can help with the things we are building, for them to run more efficiently, to do things with the data, or be able to do right outcome for the things they focus on with the investment we provide as well. So there are a lot of things like that which we have to do, but the goal will be always to really partner and make sure we think about the overall socioeconomic impact and not just think of ourselves as a software vendor who just goes and sells to enterprises and doesn't worry about the world.
Got it, thanks. And one question you probably get in every forum, which is about the AI impacting, the mass layoffs, or people losing their jobs. What's your take? Is it going to actually just, sometimes we call it the the fast work will be replaced, the slow work will be intense. So what do you envision as the AI in this, the so-called loss of labor force?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of noise about layoffs because of AI. I'm not completely sure that it is AI-driven. A lot of things I've seen in the news, a lot of people are using AI as a reason for doing some cuts because it sounds better than saying I'm letting people go. At ServiceNow, we had no layoff policy for many years, and it's been still the same. I mean, we've been growing. Our company doubled over the last 4 years in terms of headcount with 28,000 people, and we continue to expand in every area. And while we are using a lot of AI technologies to improve our efficiency, so my engineering efficiency is going up, my finance efficiency is going up, how we run customer support has changed drastically. I mean, we have a deflection rate of 80+%. So a lot of things are getting efficient. But we still need people because our business is growing because we're able to do more and more better things out of it. So today, this idea of layoffs, AI driving layoffs, I think that people are just using that as an excuse. I think there's going to be a lot of change in jobs in terms of what you do today with how you used to do jobs before, as I mentioned in my slide before. What you do as an engineer is changing. What you do as a customer support is changing. What you do as a salesperson is changing. So as long as you're thinking of AI helping you do your job better, you're also learning those things. The reskilling is required, so there might be things which might be happening in companies where you might not have the right skills. You might have to change the people associated with that. So it's important for everybody else to skill up their abilities with the latest AI technologies. And I think there are ample jobs. I mean, we are continuously looking for a lot of AI-skilled people in every area of our business. So there is a growth to be had. There will be some mundane tasks going away, for sure. But that happened with internet. It happened with cloud. It happened with mobile. It happened with every shift. It's just now, how do you make sure as individuals really keeping up with that change and using that opportunity to really go and compete for new opportunities across the different businesses out there. So that's, I think, the reality, and I think there's an opportunity to be had for sure.
Thank you. And we may be able to take 1 or 2 questions if you have. And these are a lot of entrepreneurs, so go ahead.
Hello. So we are an edge AI company trying to onboard a manufacturing company as a design partner. I mean, they know we are good in building the models, but I want to know from your knowledge, which is the best hybrid model to, get the partner going, strong with implementing AI.
No, I think we all struggle with kind of getting what's the best. My view, what we've done, that's why one of the things I've seen now is that the large language models are changing so frequently that you can't say what it is today is what's probably the right one tomorrow. So you have to build enough abstraction out there that you can swap things out. Initially when ServiceNow was doing a lot of the AI thing, we built our own models, and we still have domain-specific models, which might be very useful for some niche use cases. But we realized that innovation happening in the large language models, the frontier models, is quite high, and a lot of investment required for that, and everybody can't be building that thing. So we now support multiple of them, right? We do GPT 4.0 and 5. We do Gemini. We support Claude, with Mistral, Llama, and other things like that, allowing us to swap those things depending on the use case or customer preference. And I think you might have to do some extra work, of course. If you have a very specific use case, you would have to keep on testing those things. And our teams have a bunch of engineers who keep doing that regularly. And every few months, they'll tell me, hey, Amit, I'm seeing this much better with this Flash 2.5. Maybe we should make that default for the next release while let customers have choices, right? So I think I would suggest don't tie yourself to one for now, and probably make that an abstraction and allow you the flexibility to make changes as necessary.
Thanks so much for your insights. Curious how you're competing for AI talent. Given it's a talent war, you have some folks out there, won't name names, but throwing all sorts of money at companies or perhaps doing sort of interesting acquisition structures to bring talent in. How does ServiceNow compete for AI talent in a heavily competitive world, and also now with perhaps immigration becoming a little more difficult, that's going to make it even harder?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think the talent war is there. And as you point out, a lot of companies throwing a lot of money out there. But every job, those are jobs, some of the extreme ones are a little more research-oriented, versus we definitely have a research arm. We bought a company in that area who does AI research, and there's a company called Elemental based in Montreal, which does a lot of our heavy lifting of research, and they work with a lot of other researchers. But the other parts of hiring is really geared towards practical usage of AI. Engineers who understand the core software, but are able to now incorporate AI in the way they do their jobs as well. And we've been able to find very good talent, one from just general market. I mean, we've hired many AI engineers with a few years of very deep experience. We train them as well, so sometimes you don't have to get everybody with every skill. You make sure that they get trained. Second, acquisitions. I have done, like, since I've joined, around 6 acquisitions with a lot of AI talent coming through that. So that way we can bring in people faster and not have to go hire one at a time. And then retention. More than hiring is a lot of times is really making sure that we keep our employees who are AI talented happy, working on very interesting work, making sure they're making a difference, and just nurturing them. And our attrition rate of AI talent is very, very low because they're finding a good environment to work in. Because every time you lose one, you again have to go find somebody else, and I'd rather have someone who's very good remain with me. So that's been, so far it's not been an issue. There's always going to be a fight for those 10 AI researchers, and people can throw money at them, and that's fine. They deserve it. That's okay. But I think what we are looking for and the AI work we are doing, we're finding very good skills and be able to deliver good software.
We just have one more question out there, and you can connect with Amit post the session.
Hello, Amit. Thank you so much for the insightful session. I'm Siddhant, founder of Codex.ai. We are building AI agent for testing APIs, MCPs, AI agents. I have 2 questions for you. One is, with the cost of building a software is going down, how do you discuss internally about build versus buy? Because building a software is very less cost. Are you going to build everything for yourself, or are you still exploring to buy from the third parties? And an extension of this question is, when you are buying from third party, apart from the product, what are top 2-3 things that you evaluate for the new age companies, startups and all?
Yeah, I think this buy versus build is a question every time, I mean, throughout our careers, right? It doesn't change. The way I look at it is, one, we can't do everything, irrespective of cost or not cost. There's time to market as well. So there will be opportunities in the companies and people who have done something faster or very focused, which will help us augment what I might be building out, right? So we always look for opportunities to find companies which are talented, with good IP, good skills, and some ability to kind of prove, some market-proven product as well, right? So that's something which we really care for. So that's how we evaluate. A lot of times we're bringing in those companies with this idea of augmenting what we might be doing. In some areas, when we buy some bigger companies, we're getting into new segments. So it's a usual discussion. I think it's not the cost part, really. It's really more than anything else, to me, is time to market and the skills we require. And some of these areas, we might not have the right people or might not have enough of those people, and we want to find domain experts which we can really bring in and change how we might be operating. And a lot of outside-in view always helps in any company. Irrespective, you can build everything ourselves, doesn't mean that's the right thing, because you do want outside-in view so that we can keep on rethinking and not become too insular. Once you become very insular, you will start believing everything you do, and you will fail miserably over time.
I think that's all we had for audience questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much,
Ashis. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit.
Yeah,
That was great. Before you get off of the stage, I just want to get a show of hands. How many in the audience have ever, at any point in their career, have had an association with Oracle?
I'm not surprised.
How about Google? ServiceNow, or any of the other companies he mentioned on stage. So guys, this is why you're here. This is your crowd. This is your conference. Many of you have shared associations with each other from IIT, professions. This is where you get to talk to all of us together. So thank you so much, Amit.
Good, right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Everyone. Thank you.